First part, strength parameter, we mean physiology. This part is divided in three categories. First of all, structural mechanisms. What does occur in the muscle physical sheath? What are the changes within a muscle when doing a strength training? The second issue will be about nervous mechanisms, and the last part about the cycle, relaxation and stretching, the plyometric system. First part, structural mechanisms. What takes place inside a muscle and muscle cells? Let's start with hypertrophy, the increase in muscular volume. This is what a culturist targets while training at the gym. In the case of hypertrophy, the number and size of myofibrils increase inside the muscle. Myofibrils are myofilaments made of actin and myosin. When these two proteins get closer to each other, they make muscle contraction possible. The actin filaments of muscle fiber slide past the myosin filaments during muscle contraction. We increase the size as we break fibers when doing workouts. The overcompensation mechanism of the body will make these fibers bigger and stronger. The connective tissue includes all the envelopes around muscle structure at different levels. Muscle fibers are surrounded by layers. Then fiber bundles are also surrounded by another layer and the muscle itself by connective tissue called fascias. This tissue represents around 13% of the muscle weight. When we increase muscular mass, we also increase connective tissue in the same proportion. It adapts to strength workouts. Vascularization. This is all blood vessels and capillaries inside fiber muscles and muscles will get bigger in training. The adaptation allows to bring more oxygen and nutrients to the muscle during the effort and recovery time. A change in muscle fibers. There are different kinds of fibers. Type 1, white color, slow, small, adapted to endurance exercise. Type 2A and 2B, white color, bigger and more adapted to strength exercise. During workouts, muscle fibers know slight changes. Type 1 fibers move into Type 2A fibers. The second type of fibers is bigger and more adapted to strength workouts. We can compare extreme cases such as a marathon runner and a sprinter. The marathon runner has more Type 1 fibers, whereas the sprinter has more Type 2 fibers. Muscle mass is also very different between them. It is partly due to the different type of fibers. The last point is about hyperplasia, which is increase in muscle cell numbers. Workouts will lead one cell to create two new cells that we could name daughter cells. The increase may happen for 2 to 5% of the cells. The last part about structural factors deals with sarcomere. It is the smallest contractile unit of a muscle. That's where we found actin-myosin cross bridges. With exercise performed at maximal range of motion and eccentric training, we increase the number of sarcomeres. What are the consequences on muscles? There are more parts of the muscles which face muscle shortening with actin-myosin cross-bridge sliding. It is like the tug of the war. There are more individuals who participate in pulling the rope, more actin-myosin cross-bridges getting closer to each other. You can express more strength and more muscle contraction on the cell. The second part